Hello, and welcome to Fulfillment Therapy. My name is Maddie, Kendra Nilsson's COO, and today you'll be listening to episode 236, The Swiss Cheese Approach to Strengthening Your Relationship with Nick Brancato. We hope you enjoy.
Welcome back to Fulfillment Therapy. Today we have a special guest, Nick Brancato, and he's a personal development coach with 25 plus years of experience. So he holds a master's degree in education and has a background in tech. He combines practical tools with data-driven frameworks to help individuals and couples navigate life's challenges. Nick's holistic approach incorporates meditation, visualization, and hypnotherapy, focusing on emotional insight and actionable steps to foster deeper connections and clarity in relationships. So thank you for coming on the show, Nick.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here and talk with you today.
Yeah, just in your own words, if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit about yourself.
Sure, my background is in education primarily to begin with. I was a high school teacher. I was tenured and did that for quite a while. Then I began working for the World Poker Tour Boot Camp Division as their director of training and curriculum and their lead instructor teaching poker all over the country doing seminars. And I did a lot of poker coaching at that time. And what I discovered was that poker is life. And when you're at the table, you have to have a very clear mind and a great mindset. And you need to not be distracted when you're playing. And you play long 10, 12, 14-hour days. And so what comes up a lot in coaching is relationship management and your communication with the people you love outside the table so that you can play these long days and focus without being distracted. So I actually started doing a lot of relationship coaching while doing poker coaching. Then after that, I started doing it personal development coaching full time and relationship coaching full time.
Oh, yeah, that's quite the variety of things from poker to relationship to self-development. Do you have a baby that you love the most?
I love relationship coaching the most. I love helping couples. I love personal development. Helping people achieve their goals is so exciting and fun and very gratifying, but nothing beats two people really connecting and watching their relationship improve.
Uh, My husband and I were just talking about this because my husband's a therapist too. And if we prefer working with couples or individuals, I love working with couples, but there is this added dynamic when they're both in the room. There's more hardness or bitterness that is not really there when it's one-on-one sometimes. So I like them in moderation, and I like to do for sure that the variety, but I love that you love that too. So you work with a lot of couples right now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for giving us a little bit more of a background. So you say that you are a personal development coach and you help couples. What's one thing that you do to help couples or parents navigate the modern challenges of life right now?
The challenges that modern families experience are tremendous. Three couples come to mind. One couple that I work with is a blended family. They've been together a couple years and they have two grown children that live at home. And one of them is autistic and they both work, but one of them works full time from home. Another couple has been together since high school, over 20 years. They have two small children and they both work full time, but one of them just got laid off. And the last couple, they've been together for about 10 years. They have two small children and one parent homeschools full time while the other works full time. And so with these three couples, I find that they experience a lot of decision fatigue and emotional overload, and they're misaligned fundamentally, but they don't know it. So I created this Prioritize Us test, and it gives you a total difference score or a TDS, which gives you a structured, data-driven way to measure and help you prioritize what really matters. So my goal and what I do is help parents eliminate the guesswork by tracking alignment so that they can make better daily choices that strengthen their relationship. And what I've found is that these small shifts can make a really big impact when people consciously actually focus on quality over quantity. Family stress decreases and connections deepen. And the biggest thing I think is that parents don't often need more advice. They need a system for clarity because once they understand alignment, fulfillment flows naturally.
So you said a system for clarity. Is that where your data background comes in with tech and everything? You like to really organize in a way that makes it very clear, it sounds.
Absolutely. Yes. I like to look at things objectively, removing the emotion from the equation, especially in close relationships, because that can really blind you to what's really going on. You make false narratives up in your head about what you think the other person is thinking, which is just like poker, actually. The whole game is what do I think you think I have, and vice versa. So that's how relationships are too. And without an objective system for ranking and taking a look at what's important to us, we're just going to be guessing. And so you can systematically add clarity in very little time, just a couple minutes, and you'll be surprised at what you find.
So, if I'm understanding this correctly, you have a system that you take your clients through where you help them realign with their values and really prioritize in a better way to eliminate some of that decision fatigue and emotional overload. So, it helps with those things. Did I understand that right?
Yes, absolutely.
What about listeners that were like, I don't have his program or anything like that. So, how do I eliminate some of that decision fatigue and emotional overload? What would you say to them?
Oh, that's a great question. It's very easy. You can just start by taking a minute and separately, you and your partner, and just write down your top three priorities.
Yeah.
Just jot them down and then without looking at each other, and then share them with each other. And don't try to criticize, adopt a learning stance. So your goal here is just to gain clarity, be curious, and just ask, why is this your highest? Why is this on your list? Why is it not on your list? And you'll be very surprised. Very few people are able to guess the other person's top three. It doesn't really happen. I haven't seen it happen yet.
Oh, really? So yours don't usually align, the two of them?
Priorities change day to day. And so what might be important to you today may not be what's your most important value. So values are more stable and priorities shift regularly, and they'll shift unconsciously without people realizing it if they don't check often to make sure that they're aligned and on the same page with a shared vision for the future.
Right. That makes sense. Okay. So, how do you teach parents to foster those deeper connections with their partners and children when they're overwhelmed, when they maybe haven't done these things and they have a lot of that decision fatigue and that emotional overwhelm? What would you say to them?
That's such a good question. That reminds me of the one of the couples that I mentioned. They've been together a couple years and they have two grown children at home, and one of them's autistic. And so stress itself doesn't create disconnection, but lack of structure does.
Yeah.
And this is highlighted by the autistic child as they put increasing systems into place. Their son does better and better, and so does the rest of the family, interestingly. And and that's an amazing thing. Aligning your priorities and taking a look at them helps families measure where alignment's breaking down so they can course correct. My system, it's really simple. You just rank 10 priorities in your life, 1 through 10. Then you share them with each other and subtract one priority from the other to get a total different score. For example, if I ranked career as number 1 and you ranked it as number 7, the difference is 6. And so we get that across 10 priorities and we see where we really line up. What's my top priority? What's yours? And where do our priorities not align? That's going to show areas of conflict. And so parents need consistent emotional touch points, even in busy or stressful times, especially in busy or stressful times where quick check ins, or what I like to help couples incorporate, is shared rituals. For example, doing a coffee ritual in the morning or a hot beverage ritual, just 15 minutes or less, where it's no devices, just really connecting, or 5 minutes before bed, just a ritual that reinforces your intentional presence with each other. And a simple commitment to presence, even just 5 undistracted minutes, really helps life feel less overwhelming, and it reinforces your connection. And alignment is about having the same alignment and being identical in your values or your priorities. It's that communication is the key. And that's what really helps you avoid future conflict, preempt it. Because most couples don't struggle from lack of love, they struggle from misalignment. And when you structure connection, love stops getting lost in the chaos of everyday life.
Yeah, definitely. You just said those shared rituals. It doesn't have to be this big time commitment. It can be something very brief. I know that really helps my husband and I. If we don't have pillow talk each night, we can feel very disconnected over time. but something, some sort of small thing. It could be going on a walk after dinner.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Going on a walk is great because it helps health. It lets you give you distraction free time to talk and really connect. And it's an excuse to hold hands and do simple gestures of physical connection that really make a big difference too.
If you don't mind my asking, I don't know if you're married or in a relationship, but do you have something that you like to do?
Yes, I am married and I've been with my wife for quite a long time now. And one of the rituals that we have is we wake up early every morning. We're part of the 5 a.m. club for sure. And
Definitely.
so this is a time when the world is still and not much is going on. And we have a hot beverage ritual where one of us makes it for the other, depending on who gets out of bed easier. And then we share that time together. We talk about our day yesterday and what we're going to do for the day today. One of the rituals that we have is we map out our top 3 decisions that we're going to make throughout the day. And that helps us eliminate decision fatigue. And you're making your decisions when you're at your clearest in the morning, when you're most creative, when your mind is operating most functionally, and when you have the fewest distractions going on that have been loaded to you from the chaos of every day, whether that be from content you consume or people you interact with, all of that shifts your focus away from making your own high quality decisions. So by mapping out our top 3 decisions, we have really transformed our relationship and our energy levels because instead of working harder, we're working clearer. So there's much less wasted energy. And that mental clarity ensures that every action is intentional and aligned. And my goal for myself and for everyone that I work with is for my actions to be in alignment with my intentions.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
that's beautiful
thank
said.
you.
And such a simple thing that, again, that you can do. It's just like you said, over a hot beverage, morning coffee, whatever that is, share those top 3 decisions together to eliminate that decision fatigue. And I'm guessing here, but that really connects you and helps you also in your day. Like you have that interpersonal connection that also helps you thrive in other areas.
Yes, it's so true. I think fulfillment isn't something that you stumble upon. It's
Mhm.
something that you build. And the moment that you stop guessing and start designing alignment, your life just transforms and it happens so much more quickly than you would ever think.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It takes intentionality for sure. So, how do you think parents can incorporate methods of maybe meditation or guided visualizations into maybe daily routines without feeling overwhelmed? Because I know a lot of my clients really resist this because it feels so big and so hard.
Sure, it can feel overwhelming. One of the couples that I work with that I mentioned earlier, the one that just lost their job, they're actually in a very stressful period right now. And so, meditation, it's not about sitting still, it's about creating space for mental clarity in the moments that you already have. So instead of it being like another task that you add, I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes at 4 o'clock and I'm going to do that every day. That's a really harsh rule that you're making for yourself, and life is going to get in the way so often. So I teach couples and parents, especially, to pair mindfulness with movement. So breathe deeply while driving. Do 4 seconds in, hold for 4 seconds, 4 seconds out, and focus on the sensations. And you can do that while you're doing a lot of things. You could do that during a morning routine while you're making your breakfast. You could do that as a transitional reset point. So I would suggest taking 30 seconds before you ever change rooms. Usually you're going to be alone changing rooms and you're going to do it a lot throughout the day, probably more than you realize. And
Yeah.
so if you stand up, take 30 seconds, breathe deeply, and prepare yourself for this transition to go into the next room with the positive energy and outlook that you really want for whatever you're about to do, whatever task you're going to do, or whoever you're going to interact with. The goal isn't perfection, it's the consistency in the small moments. And you don't need 30 minutes of silence to find peace. You just need to bring presence into the moments you already have.
Yeah. I appreciate that because I am not the best at meditation. I also love it, like traditional meditation. And I was reading something that just said anything that clear your mind. And for me, it's when I'm moving. It's usually when I'm exercising or going on that walk or just something like that. But I found for myself, whether I have a pad of paper or putting it in my phone, writing those strokes of ideas, writing those things down that bring me that clarity. That feels like meditation to me, but even just something you're saying, like that breathing intention, like that intentionality throughout the day, like when you're moving rooms. I love that. That's just a very simple way to incorporate that more into our lives, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Can you share maybe a success story of how your approach transformed a couple's relationship or maybe even their family life?
Sure, absolutely. One of the couples that I mentioned earlier that has a stay-at-home parent that homeschool and the other parent works full time. They both have small kids. They've been together for over a decade and they've been on autopilot for a while and they figured out that their love languages were misaligned. So I did the priorities test with them and they got a TDS that revealed that they were investing in the wrong areas of connection. So they did just two small shifts. They scheduled 15 minutes of uninterrupted time together daily. And during this time, there's no distractions, no kids, no devices, no screens. And they let it be a free flowing time. They don't force themselves to have any particular conversation or do any particular exercise. They even let it be quiet time just together if they want and just to let their minds slow down. Then when one of them have something to say, they do, and they find this is the most connected they've been in a really long time because there's 15 minutes of quality time is so much longer than you think. You can really talk about most things that are going on in your life. And then they also do a weekly connection check-in where they actually do a little exercise. They look at their priorities for the next week. They've taken the priority TDS concept and they've made their custom lists. So it's not about using my 10 core priorities. It's about figuring out what's important to you and using mine as a starting point because it's going to apply to every relationship and be a helpful starting point. But then customizing your own list and still using the TDS framework so that you get an objective score and so that your life is a little more data driven than it would otherwise be. That way you can have some predetermined decisions in your life that will alleviate your stress and decision fatigue. And so within weeks of doing this, they noticed that their kids felt safer, which I thought was an interesting thing for them to say, that their stress levels dropped. And most importantly, they feel like teammates again, instead of just co-parents or co-managers of life. And once you measure connection, then you stop guessing and everything else changes. You can really gain a respect for what's important to the other person. And then you see why they're doing the actions that they're doing throughout the day. You stop wondering and you stop misattributing it to think that it's about you or yourself. When someone's focusing on their career, sometimes that's just their top priority because they're about to get laid off or because they're about to get a promotion. And it seems like neglect. And maybe that's the story you tell yourself, but really it's just this little season that's going on right now. And if you knew about it, you'd probably be able to support them in ways you otherwise wouldn't and find new connection points.
Yeah, absolutely. Love how you said that the results that they noticed and that you made sure to document that is that they decreased in stress, they felt more connected, the kids even felt safer. Just all of this ripple effect into just some simple shifts that they did into their relationship and how that affects everything. It's beautiful. I love seeing the positive results like that.
Thank you.
So, as listeners make self improvement more of a priority when many of us don't, what's one step they can take maybe today to start creating a more meaningful change in their life and maybe even their relationships?
Okay, so in their life, I would encourage everyone to take a look at their own personal priorities. So just do a brain dump, write down what's important to you right now. What are you prioritizing? So don't make just your top three. That would be a great way to do it if you're going to compare with someone, writing down your top three and then exchanging lists and talking about it curiously. But when you're doing it for yourself, make it an exhaustive list. Like just dump it all out. And then you can ask yourself, now, of this list, what's most important right now? What's most important tomorrow? And if you do this exercise, first of all, you're going to surprise yourself because you're going to realize a lot of time and effort is going to things that you actually hold as a low priority. So many people rank entertainment as like 8, 9, or 10. And then when I have them map their time against their priorities, which is a great exercise to do, And I have a little worksheet for it in the book. And what you find out is you're dedicating like 20, 30 hours a week to entertainment that you're barely enjoying often. And it's just mindless scrolling or watching content that you're not learning from, streaming things. And so people find that they're misaligned in their own lives, even more so than they find they're misaligned in their relationships. A lot of times the relationships actually have a very steady framework and good pillars in place. Like you'll find in the top 5, 3 are aligned for both partners, things like that. But their lives are in turmoil and there's a lot of conflict. And it's because of these personal misalignments. A lot of times it is about me, not you. But I don't know that unless I do something like jot down all my priorities and rank them. And then that moves me with intentionality forward for the next day too. And if you have trouble dumping them all or that seems overwhelming, then just write down 5 and do that. And then figure out how you're going to achieve your top priority for today and for tomorrow.
Yeah, just a very simple thing that you can do. And yet, how often are we spending so much time doing things that are not really top priorities or even really aligned with our values? Like you mentioned, the entertainment one. And recently, I've been just doing a little audio journal on my phone right away in the morning and just kind of spiritually creating the day for what I want to attract, what I want in my life. And then I report back the next day. If I did those intentional things that would bring that to fruition, and that does help me be more in tune with what I want to create. But when I'm not doing that and just existing, kind of going through the motions, you don't really live a very value-led life. Spend that time where you want. Just like you said, you kind of default to these other things that don't even really matter. They're way down on the list. So I appreciate you speaking to that because I think that would resonate with a lot of people.
Oh, thank you. I love that routine or ritual that you're doing, leaving a voice message, a voice recording to yourself, and then checking in on it. That's a fantastic thing to do, I think. And for so many reasons, just forcing yourself to articulate your thoughts outside your head in a non-journaling way has so much value. And that reminds me of another quick thing couples can do to check in is what conversations are you having over and over again? If you're having the same conversations, especially if they're conflict or arguments, it's probably a miscommunication and it means you're attacking the thing at the wrong level. Try to look at it a level up. That's why prioritization helps because it helps you get away from the micro details and the minutia of day-to-day life and into the real things that matter most to both of you.
Absolutely. I love that tip too. Personally, Nick, like maybe for our last question, how have you created more fulfillment in your life and strove to become your best self through these tips that you've done or talked about or whatever it might be?
That's a great question. I try to eliminate decision fatigue first and foremost, because if you don't have good energy and a good mindset for making the decisions, the choices that you make every day, then you're going to make mistakes that you're going to regret. So I mentioned earlier a ritual I do with my wife. We write down our top 3 decisions that we're going to make for the day. We do it in the morning after we enjoy a hot beverage and connection time together. And it really transformed how I approach our relationship because I always want one of those top 3 things to be something about my relationship. And
Yeah.
that's something I didn't even realize until I started doing it and often didn't make appropriate time for, even if it's just 5 minutes of connection. So that's one of the things that I realized. And by mapping out our decisions and having this ritual, I get my wife's input into the things that actually matter to me throughout the day. So my big choices that are going to come up, my big things, now she's involved in and we're connecting and she feels like she's a part of all aspects of my life, even when she's not involved and vice versa. So it's about learning and figuring out what you don't know
Right.
because you have to know what you don't know before you can learn it. I think of us like a piece of Swiss cheese. We all have gaps in our knowledge, but we don't know where, and they're not the same gaps. And so our goal is to plug those gaps. And when we align, we can plug those gaps together in a complementary way. It's not about having the same alignment and the same priorities. It's about being aware of each other and not relying on motivation and love, but relying on structured alignment to keep my life and relationships and purpose on track. Because fulfillment in my relationship isn't something that we stumbled upon. It's something that we really built. And the moment you stop guessing and you start aligning, then your life it transforms. It really does.
Absolutely. I love that Swiss cheese analogy. It kind of makes me think, okay, if you're both a different slice of that Swiss cheese and then you both are together, connected in that way, you're making up for those holes in each other's cheese. That's so funny. I've never thought of Swiss cheese analogy, but making up for that. Thank you for sharing that. So, Nick, where can we find you if they want to reach out to you? Curious about your data, your approach, all of those things. Where can they look for you?
Sure. If you're on Instagram, you can find me at Personal Dev Coach. I give tips and share things there. And if you go on Amazon and you look up Prioritize Us, you can grab the book that outlines this system and has worksheets and gives you all kinds of prompts to help you have conversations that might otherwise be difficult. They can actually be very easy if you do it in a little more structured way, and take the pressure off yourself for having to come up with every question or every thought, and actually use a tool that will facilitate it for you. And once you do it once, you never have to use the book again. You'll learn it, and then it just becomes part of how you make decisions, and it'll help you. And if you go to nickbrancato.com, you can get more information on all of this. And if this conversation resonated with you at all and you're interested in coaching, I have a few spots available where I coach individuals for personal development, whatever goal they want to achieve. I think I can help them do it more efficiently. And any couples that are interested, I love working with them. So you can DM me at Personal Dev Coach on Instagram or contact me on nickbrancato.com. I would love to hear from you.
Wonderful. Okay, I'll put that information in the show notes as well, so if they want to reach out to you. But thank you so much, Nick, for coming on the show and sharing your wisdom and insights. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful being here. And I really appreciate everything that you do. Like, I appreciate therapists in general. I think they're so important. And putting out content that's high quality like this, that people can consume and improve their lives, is so powerful. I just can't give you enough props for doing it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that very much. And same to you. Like, spreading those positive ripples and helping so many people is absolutely needed. We see it all the time.
It is. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening. As always, please head over to our website, fulfillmenttherapy.org, to find our blog, which has tips and tricks, all condensed from these podcast episodes, as well as our page for our courses. We are constantly releasing new ones, as well as providing information about the ones we already have. So we would love to see you there. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you back here every Monday and Thursday.